Would you like to hear a story? Excellent. So would I. I am the story seeker, traveling to the four corners of the world and through the wheel of time. I seek out the stories that remind us who we are and encourage us to become whom we are meant to be. I invite you to settle in. Put your listening ears on and let your imagination reawaken as I tell you a story.
Now, one of the great things about being a storyteller is we each have our own flavor, shall we say, of storytelling. And this is mine. I am the story seeker. I travel to the four corners of the globe and through the wheel of time, seeking out the very best stories to tell you. The stories that remind us who we are and encourage us to become whom we are meant to be. Now, I try to tailor my stories for the group that I am telling to. And I thought that one of my traditional stories of fairy tales and bravery and daring do and morals might be lost on this crowd. And having heard such a wonderful St. Patrick's Day story last month, it reminded me of a family story from my Irish heritage. My mother's name was Charlotte Elaine McGuffey, and she was a very proud woman, and incredibly proud of her proud Irish heritage. She herself had never been to the Green Isle, but it lived within her, and she craved it. And our house was full of little leprechaun figurines and big potted shamrocks. And her favorite day of the year was, of course, St. Patrick's Day. Now, the annual tradition in the McGuffey home was for her to send my sister and I to school with a traditional Irish lunch. Now, what would you think would be on a traditional Irish lunch?
Soda bread.
Soda bread.
Slumgullion.
Yes. Potatoes. Not in my family. My mother's favorite color was green. Green as the Isle and green as her eyes. And so she would send my sister and I with green lunches. She took food coloring and painted our white bread green. She would toss in some green cookies and top it all off with a big plastic thermos of, yes, green milk. We were the envy of the lunchroom. At least I choose to believe that they were green with envy and not with sympathetic nausea. Now, my mother took the whole Irish heritage thing a bit too far, in my opinion, for at far too young an age, 9 years ago this very month, she died a tragic Irish death. But when I was a little girl, she would tell me stories about my grandfather, who was also full Irish, though he too had never been to the Isle. And in true Irish fashion, at far too young an age, he too died a tragic Irish death working in the copper mines in Arizona. But when she was a little girl, her father used to tell her stories about her grandfather, who was from Ireland. Now, great-grandfather Darcy and his brother Patrick lived on the Great Green Isle during the turn of the century. Jobs were hard to come by, and they would scrape through with doing odd jobs and taking on any tradesman craft that they could. And for a while, they both worked as bricklayers. Now, Darcy was the brains of the outfit, and he took the easy job with the trowel, pasting mortar on the bricks and laying them one by one, slowly building up the walls and cities of the Irish countryside. His brother Patrick was the family fool. It was said that if there was a hole within 50 miles of him, he would fall in it. And he tripped over his tongue as often as his feet. Patrick was given the job of carrying bricks in his hod. Everyone knows what a hod is, I guess. For those who don't, picture a 3-sided box. This creates a platform for placing 20 to 50 bricks placed on a pole, help you carry it against your shoulder. Now, poor great-uncle Patrick actually lived to the ripe old age of 50. But it is said that he tripped on a potato, hit his head on a Blarney stone, and tumbled down into the McGuffey River, which ironically was not named after Patrick McGuffey, but rather their grandfather, who... that's another story. But amongst his belongings was found a letter, and this letter has become part of the legend of our family's lore. It's a sick note that he had written to his employer while they were bricklayers. And it goes something like this. Dear sir, I write this note to you to tell you of me plight, and at the time of writing it I'm not a pretty sight. Me body is all black and blue, my face a deathly grey, and I write this note to say why Patty's not at work today. While working on the 14th floor, some bricks I had to clear. Now to throw them down from such a height was not a good idea. The foreman wasn't very pleased, him being an awkward sod. He said I'd have to cart them down the ladders in me hod. Now, carting all these bricks by hand, it was so very slow. So I hoisted up a barrel and secured the rope below. But in me haste to do the job, I was too blind to see that a barrel full of building bricks was heavier than me. So when I untied the rope, the barrel fell like lead, and clinging tightly to that rope, I started up instead. Well, I shot up like a rocket till, to my dismay, I found that halfway up I met the heavy barrel coming down. Well, the barrel broke me shoulder as to the ground it sped, and when I reached the top, I banged the pulley with me head. Well, I clung on tight, though numb with shock from that almighty blow, and the barrel spilled out half its bricks 14 floors below. Now when these bricks had fallen from the barrel to the floor, I then outweighed the barrel and so started down once more. Still clinging tightly to the rope, I sped towards the ground and landed on the broken bricks that were all scattered round. Well, I lay there groaning on the ground. I thought I'd seen the worst, when the barrel hit the pulley wheel and then the bottom burst. Well, a shower of bricks rained down on me. I hadn't got a hope. As I lay there moaning on the ground, I let go of the rope. The barrel then being heavier, it started down once more and landed right across me as I lay upon the floor. Well, it broke 3 ribs and my right arm, and I can only say that I hope you'll understand why Patty's not at work today.
Again, this is the Story Seeker. I hope you enjoyed that story. If you'd like to hear more, subscribe to the podcast and visit me on the web at thestoryseeker.com. See you next time.